Good morning, auto industry enthusiasts. You're tuned in to Auto Intelligence, the perfect companion to your morning brew as you navigate the roads ahead. I'm Steve.
And I'm Claire. Together with the Auto Agentic team, we're bringing you cutting-edge insights every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
And today's episode couldn't be more relevant to what's happening across the mobility landscape. We're diving into changing consumer preferences and mobility models, the new era of automotive flexibility.
It's a massive shift that's fundamentally rewriting the rules of our industry. The days when success meant simply selling more vehicles are rapidly fading in the rearview mirror.
Absolutely. And before we dive in, a quick reminder that Auto Intelligence is produced by Auto Agentic AI, the industry's most human-centered strategic co-pilot for navigating these transformative times.
So grab that coffee, set your commute playlist to pause, and let's explore how the concept of mobility itself is being redefined before our eyes.
Claire, something fundamental is happening with consumers, especially younger generations. According to Deloitte's 2025 Global Automotive Consumer Study, a significant portion of 18 to 34-year-olds would be willing to give up traditional vehicle ownership entirely in favor of mobility-as-a-service solutions.
That's right. The study found that approximately 4 in 10 respondents in that age bracket are at least somewhat interested in transitioning away from the traditional ownership model. And this shift isn't happening in isolation. It's being driven by several powerful forces.
Urbanization is a big one. As more people concentrate in city centers, the practicality of car ownership diminishes while the associated headaches multiply. Finding parking alone can turn into a daily nightmare.
Then there's the sustainability angle. Young consumers in particular are increasingly conscious of their carbon footprint, and they're questioning whether owning a 2-ton metal box that sits unused 95% of the time makes environmental sense.
Not to mention the financial burden. Between depreciation, insurance, maintenance, parking, and fuel costs, ownership has always been expensive. But now, with inflation and rising vehicle prices, the economics are becoming even harder to justify for many consumers.
You know, I had an interesting conversation with my nephew last week. He's 26, lives in Chicago, and just got a promotion. I asked when he planned to buy a car, and he looked at me like I'd suggested he invest in a horse and buggy.
Let me guess, he's all in on the mobility apps?
Completely. He said, "Why would I lock up thousands of dollars in something that loses value every day when I can just tap my phone and have exactly the transportation I need, exactly when I need it?" It's a different mindset entirely.
What strikes me about this shift is that it's not just about cost. Even consumers who could afford vehicle ownership are choosing alternatives because they value flexibility and convenience over possession. It's part of a broader move toward access over ownership that we're seeing across multiple sectors.
Exactly. And this creates both challenges and opportunities for traditional automakers. Those who continue to define themselves purely as vehicle manufacturers risk becoming increasingly disconnected from what consumers actually want.
Which brings us to one of the most intriguing responses to this shift, the rise of subscription services. Let's explore how these are reshaping the industry landscape.
Vehicle subscriptions represent perhaps the most direct response to changing consumer preferences, a middle ground between the rigidity of ownership and the transience of pure mobility services.
And the market is responding in a big way. According to Precedence Research, the global vehicle subscription market is projected to grow from $6.18 billion in 2025 to $88.46 billion by 2034, with a remarkable compound annual growth rate of 34.4%.
The North American market is particularly strong, with the US market alone expected to grow from $1.32 billion in 2024 to $25.99 billion by 2034. Those are staggering numbers.
They really are. And what's driving this growth? Well, subscriptions bundle together vehicle access, insurance, maintenance, and sometimes even fuel or charging into a single monthly payment. It's the ultimate in simplicity and convenience.
Plus, many subscription services allow users to switch between different vehicle types as their needs change. Heading to the mountains for a ski weekend? Switch to an SUV. Need something more fuel efficient for your daily commute? Downsize to a compact. It's the automotive equivalent of having a wardrobe that adapts to every occasion.
That flexibility particularly appeals to millennials and Gen Z who've grown up in a world where Netflix replaced DVD collections and Spotify replaced CD libraries. For them, the idea of committing to a single vehicle for years seems unnecessarily limiting.
Interestingly, subscription services can also make financial sense. When you factor in all the hidden costs of ownership like depreciation, taxes, and unexpected repairs, the all-in monthly subscription fee often comes out looking quite reasonable.
Some providers are integrating AI technology to enhance the experience even further. For instance, in 2025, we're seeing subscription services that use machine learning to match drivers with vehicles based on their usage patterns, helping to reduce the anxiety often associated with electric vehicles.
The subscription model is also evolving to include customizable features. Loopit reports that 2025 subscription offers allow users to tailor their experience, choosing specific vehicle types, service levels, and even technological add-ons via mobile apps.
But it's not all smooth roads ahead. Some data suggests that customer retention remains a challenge, with a significant percentage of subscribers canceling within the first 6 months, often due to unexpected limitations or costs.
That's a critical point, Steve. The subscription model is still maturing, and providers are learning that transparency about terms, mileage allowances, and additional fees is essential for customer satisfaction.
You're listening to Auto Intelligence, sponsored by AutoAgentic, the pioneering AI-driven platform transforming automotive retail with intelligent solutions that empower dealership teams rather than replacing them.
Now, let's expand our view beyond subscriptions to look at the broader shared mobility ecosystem that's reshaping urban transportation.
Shared mobility represents another major trend disrupting traditional vehicle ownership models. This umbrella term covers everything from ride-hailing services like Uber and Lyft to car-sharing platforms and micro-mobility solutions like e-scooters.
The numbers here are equally impressive. Different research firms provide varied figures, but they all point to massive growth. One source indicates that the global shared mobility market will grow from $243.3 billion in 2024 to nearly $1.2 trillion by 2034, with a compound annual growth rate of around 15.85%.
What's particularly interesting is the regional variation. The Asia-Pacific region is leading in growth, driven by rapid urbanization, increasing smartphone penetration, government initiatives, and rising disposable income.
Meanwhile, Europe's car-sharing market alone is projected to grow from around $4 billion in 2024 to nearly $9 billion by 2033. Germany dominates with about 30% of the European market, followed by countries like France, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Italy.
And we're seeing European fleets expand significantly. They grew by 14% in 2024, surpassing 120,000 vehicles across 39 countries. There's also a strong push toward electrification, with over 360 vehicle models, including many EVs, now integrated into these fleets.
This growth is being supported by technological advancements. Mobility as a service platforms are creating integrated ecosystems where consumers can plan, book, and pay for multiple transport options through a single app.
Singapore provides an excellent example of this integration. The Land Transport Authority there has partnered with local startup MobilityX, sharing transit data to enhance its MaaS platform. This collaboration enables improved route planning and payment integration across buses, trains, and micro-mobility options.
Berlin's Jelby app is another standout example. It aggregates data from over 70,000 vehicles across 15 mobility providers, including e-scooter companies like Lime, Voi, and Bolt. The app's AI-powered route planner prioritizes scooter and bike routes for short-distance trips under 3 kilometers where they can effectively reduce congestion.
And these platforms are having real impact. Berlin's Transport Authority reports a 23% shift from private cars to multimodal journeys in their pilot data. That's a significant reduction in urban congestion.
What makes these platforms so effective is their ability to optimize the entire mobility ecosystem. They're not just replacing car trips with other modes, they're creating entirely new patterns of movement that are more efficient and sustainable.
And they're getting smarter. By 2025, platforms like Jelby are expected to deploy predictive models that can forecast demand at a very granular level, ensuring that shared vehicles are available precisely where and when they're needed.
This intelligence extends to pricing as well. Dynamic fare structures can incentivize users to choose less congested routes or travel during off-peak hours, further optimizing the system.
Let's shift gears slightly and look at how automakers are responding to these trends by creating more direct and digital relationships with consumers.
As consumer preferences evolve, so too are the ways that automakers engage with their customers. we're seeing a significant shift toward direct-to-consumer sales models and more personalized digital experiences.
This trend is partly driven by the same factors reshaping mobility models. Consumers want convenience, transparency, and personalization. They're increasingly comfortable making major purchases online, and they expect the car buying process to keep pace with digital retail trends in other sectors.
The first quarter of 2025 gave us some interesting data points on this front. We saw a 13% year-over-year increase in retail sales in March, partly driven by consumers rushing to make purchases before potential tariff impacts.
And those tariff concerns have actually highlighted the value of pricing transparency. As consumers become more price sensitive, direct-to-consumer models that offer clear, consistent pricing without the traditional dealership negotiation are gaining appeal.
Manufacturer incentives reached just over $3,000 per vehicle in early 2025, up 8.3% year-over-year. Direct sales platforms allow automakers to target these incentives more precisely based on individual customer data rather than broad demographic assumptions.
The inventory constraints we've seen at lower price tiers have also pushed automakers to prioritize higher margin vehicles. Direct-to-consumer platforms help them manage this inventory more efficiently and offer customizable financing options that address affordability concerns.
What's particularly interesting about this shift is how it complements the subscription and shared mobility trends we've discussed. All three represent a move away from the traditional one-size-fits-all approach to automotive retail.
Exactly. Whether it's through direct online purchases, subscription services, or shared mobility platforms, the common thread is giving consumers more choice, more flexibility, and more personalized experiences.
And technology, particularly AI, is playing a crucial role in enabling this transformation. Let's explore that connection more deeply.
AI is rapidly becoming the backbone of these new mobility models, enabling levels of personalization and efficiency that would have been impossible just a few years ago.
One of the most promising applications is in predicting and managing demand for shared mobility services. Berlin's Yelby app, for instance, uses AI algorithms to anticipate where scooters and bikes will be needed, helping to ensure availability while reducing unnecessary vehicle movements.
This predictive capability is crucial for addressing one of the biggest barriers to shared mobility adoption: reliability. Consumers need to trust that a vehicle will be available when and where they need it before they'll consider giving up car ownership.
AI is also transforming the electric vehicle experience. Range anxiety remains a significant concern. 58% of consumers worry about it, according to a Tata Consultancy Services study. But AI can help by optimizing routes based on real-time conditions and predicting charging needs.
Another fascinating application is in subscription services. AI algorithms are increasingly being used to match subscribers with the right vehicles based on their usage patterns and preferences, creating a more personalized experience.
This type of intelligent matching benefits both consumers and providers. Subscribers get vehicles that better meet their needs, while fleet operators can optimize utilization and reduce unnecessary vehicle movements.
From Auto Agentic's perspective, this is exactly the kind of human-AI collaboration we advocate for. The technology isn't replacing human decision-making, it's enhancing it by processing vast amounts of data that would overwhelm any human analyst.
Absolutely. And as LLM-agnostic specialists deeply trained in the auto industry, we understand that AI's role is to amplify human capabilities, not substitute for them. That's why we emphasize being the most human AI company in the automotive space.
Now let's look at some real-world applications that bring together all the trends we've discussed.
To truly understand the impact of these changing models, it helps to look at specific examples of innovative approaches being implemented around the world.
Take Dispatch in India, for example. They're developing purpose-built electric scooters specifically designed for shared and commercial mobility. Rather than simply adapting consumer vehicles for shared use, they're building from the ground up with sharing in mind.
Their scooters are tailored for the unique challenges of urban environments in India, with features designed to withstand frequent use by multiple riders and to meet the diverse needs of businesses.
In Europe, we've seen interesting public transport initiatives, like Germany's €9 monthly ticket that was available for 3 months in 2022, allowing passengers to use local and regional transport for a fraction of the usual cost. The program was a huge success in driving public transit adoption.
And in Munich, shared electric vehicles are making a significant environmental impact. While the exact numbers vary between sources, studies suggest that one shared car can replace approximately 8 to 10 privately owned vehicles, substantially reducing emissions.
The BMW Group is also transforming its Munich plant with a €650 million investment to produce exclusively EVs by late 2027. This manufacturing shift aligns with the city's goals to reduce emissions from transportation.
These examples highlight a critical point. The transition to new mobility models isn't happening in isolation. It's part of a broader ecosystem evolution that includes vehicle design, manufacturing, infrastructure, and public policy.
And the most successful initiatives are those that take this holistic approach, recognizing that changing one element of the system affects all the others.
That's why partnerships and collaboration are so important. Singapore's Mobility X is working with the Land Transport Authority, while Berlin's Gelby brings together 15 different mobility providers. These aren't competitive relationships, they're collaborative ones.
It reminds me of something we often emphasize at autoagentic. The future of automotive isn't about competition in the traditional sense. It's about creating value through connectivity and collaboration.
As we've explored today, the automotive industry is undergoing a fundamental transformation, driven by changing consumer preferences and enabled by technological innovation.
The traditional model of individual vehicle ownership isn't disappearing overnight, but it's increasingly being complemented, and in some cases replaced, by more flexible, service-oriented approaches to mobility.
Subscription services, shared mobility platforms, and direct-to-consumer sales models all reflect the same underlying shift. Consumers increasingly value access over ownership, flexibility over commitment, and personalization over standardization.
And AI is playing a crucial role in enabling this transformation, helping to match supply with demand, optimize resource utilization, and create more seamless user experiences.
For industry stakeholders, the implications are profound. Success in this new era will require rethinking business models, embracing digital transformation, and focusing relentlessly on consumer needs and preferences.
It will also require collaboration across traditional industry boundaries, bringing together vehicle manufacturers, technology providers, infrastructure operators, and policymakers to create integrated mobility ecosystems.
The companies that thrive will be those that see themselves not just as product providers, but as mobility enablers, helping consumers move from point A to point B in the most convenient, cost-effective, and sustainable way possible.
This episode has been produced by the team at autoagentic. As a pioneering AI-driven platform transforming the automotive retail industry, autoagentic delivers a powerful suite of agentic AI agents. Intelligent, adaptive tools designed to streamline operations, optimize sales performance, and elevate the customer experience across dealerships.
What truly sets autoagentic apart is their human-centered, consultative approach. They're LLM agnostic and deeply trained on the nuances of the automotive industry. But more importantly, autoagentic is built to empower your team, not replace it.
As strategic co-pilots, they partner closely with OEMs and dealer groups to ensure AI implementation is practical, effective, and aligned with your goals. That's why they're known as the most human AI company in automotive retail.
Visit them at www.autoagentic.ai, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast for more insights into the rapidly evolving automotive landscape. Until then, drive safely and stay curious.